Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Hello, family. Hello, family. We are back together again. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. Back together in our zone of comfort, safety, and love as we reconvene at the knee of wisdom for our continuing acuity and clarity along the spiritual line. These are our spiritual examinations of our carnal existence. And family, we are back together again for the series Banking While Black. And this is to highlight and illustrate for the family in your face how the conditions, the constructions, the systems of Babylon are ingrained, were built to keep us, the children of light, the chosen, the bywords of America, descendants of slaves, black, nigger, negro, color. These are designs to keep us as a permanent underclass. The black tax, and with the formalized lending and banking institutions in control of the monetary and economics of the nation and the American station. We are just riders on the platform and the crooked rails of this reality. So we are going to pick apart the fine points for our continuing understanding and our elevation. And we must critically deliberate on the only solution. So, family, let's see what is going on in our world of the so called black people, but really, we're just variations of brown. So, we need to end that psychological, verbal, and optical insanity for our own personal growth. And we began Wells Fargo Bank. Wells Fargo family, just like Bank of America and Comerica and Chase, they are all in the same family, the cousins of banks. Wells Fargo Bank sued for race discrimination in mortgage lending practices. So we're understanding that these practices are industry wide. It matters not what door of the business you go into. The unwritten rules of the black tax immediately apply when you walk in to the event. A class action lawsuit against Wells Fargo Bank alleges accusations of discriminatory residential mortgage policies and lending practices against its black customers. And there's the trick bag language, family. The alleging, the allegations. These are real things that have occurred in order for a class action lawsuit to occur. So let's see how founded the accusations are. The lawsuit filed April 14th in the Northern District of California states the bank approved more white borrowers for a mortgage loan compared to black applicants in 2020 when the Federal CARES Act, created by COVID-19 pandemic, prompted historically low interest rates. So, family, we were subject to a deficit in service from the banking institutions under the COVID guidelines. It also alleges that black clients, including those with higher scores, were given an average interest rate of 3.34% compared to 3.23% for white borrowers. So even that minuscule percentile has an overall effect over the life of the loan family. Plaintiffs are seeking $5 million in damages, the lawsuit states. They are being represented by Tallahassee attorney Ben Crump. All family we know of Ben Crump. He seems to be spread really thin with all of the happenings of the family, immediately showing up at the unfortunate and untimely deaths of our brothers and sisters of the diaspora. And he's also now diving into the class action pool. Wells Fargo says its mission is helping customers succeed financially, said Crump during a press conference Monday in Atlanta. They are not helping Black Americans succeed financially when they engage in a pattern of practice of corporate behavior that denies financial opportunities to customers and charges more for the same services than they charge the white customers. Of course, under this system of degradation and denigration and disparity, there must be a guideline, a fence, a wall, so that the majority or the dominant or the degenerate population can maintain their hierarchy within the Babylonian system. Shea Beckwith Simmons, a married mother of six, is one of three individuals named in the lawsuit. The 43-year-old says she took legal action against Wells Fargo after the bank began foreclosing proceedings last month for their 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in Midway, Florida. The family suffered income loss during the pandemic, prompting Simmons to receive a 12-month deferment offered through the CARES Act. That was the COVID-19 program, family. When she began resuming mortgage payments, Simmons said Wells Fargo stated her mortgage loan was in default. She was given the option to renegotiate her loan at a potentially higher rate or proceeded with the foreclosure. She was put in a trick bag, family, unlawfully. During the press conference, Simmons was among a handful of plaintiffs in attendance. Her husband, Florida A&M University football coach Willie Simmons, stood by her side as she voiced frustration and disbelief regarding the bank's actions. So, family, it doesn't matter between the higher interest rates, the hidden costs and fees, the racist appraisal process, the forensic examination of our documentation, even when our incomes and credit scores are to par and exceed the average white family. We still have to jump over this financial hurdle. And with the devaluing of the property, that is the devaluation of the generational wealth that we are to accumulate and pass forth. That is a designed barrier within the financial and the banking institutions. And these institutions are governed by the United States federal, FDIC. I have watched in horror as your banking institution has threatened the security of affording and owning a home, she said. I kept my end of the bargain, and it was still not enough. Now, Wells Fargo denies claims made in the lawsuit and issued the following statement in response to it and at Monday's press conference. Let's see what Wells Fargo has to say, family. We are deeply disturbed by allegations of discrimination that we believe do not stand up to scrutiny. We are confident that we follow relevant government-sponsored enterprise guidelines in our decision making and that our underwriting practices are consistently applied, regardless of a customer's race or ethnicity. These unfounded attacks on Wells Fargo stand in stark contrast to the company's significant and long-term commitment to closing the minority homeownership gap. Well, family, it can't be both ways. You cannot be contributing to the growth of minority ownership when the barriers and the fees and the interest rates and the implicit biases are occurring, which are causing a stifle to the ownership. Now, the CARES Act offered a forbearance option, allowing borrowers to defer payments during the COVID-19 pandemic. Simmons said she enrolled because her husband took a 7% pay cut and the couple was financing their son's education for law school. Simmons, who said her name is listed on the 2013 mortgage loan, indicated she's had the house prior to getting married and has not missed a payment, despite making contact with the bank every 3 months regarding the forbearance and doing all of her banking at Wells Fargo. So, family, you are still going to be victimized in some sort of capacity, even if you are a long-standing member of the business. Simmons said she was told last month that she didn't fill out a form needed for the forbearance. Another trick bag, hidden forms, new forms. I forgot in terms of what the loan officer and agent is supposed to include in any package. If I died in the pandemic, my husband could have potentially have not known the situation at Wells Fargo would have put my widower and my children out of our home and stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity, Simmons said. Wow, family. So you get in a situation where you are purchasing a home, a situation comes up, there's a possible foreclosure, which in essence would take out or eradicate all of the years of payments and servicing to the property instantly. Despite an offer by the bank, she said she declined an opportunity to speak to Wells Fargo CEO Charles W. Sharp, adding, I don't need an apology. I don't want to talk to the president of Wells Fargo unless you get to talk to everybody else they're doing this to. Talk to the thousands of other Americans and fix it for them, Simmons said. Now, it's not the first time the bank has faced discrimination charges. And this goes back to that mission statement they had, family, of securing or procuring or increasing minority home ownership. What did they do before? In 2012, Wells Fargo Bank agreed to pay at least $175 million to settle accusations that it discriminated against Black and Hispanic borrowers in violation of fair lending laws. So that was a record and a payment that flies in direct contrast to their so-called mission statement. Wells Fargo, the nation's largest residential home mortgage originator, allegedly engaged in a pattern or practice of discrimination against qualified Black and Hispanic borrowers from 2004 through 2009, according to the U.S. Justice Department. So the federal government filed this case and precipitated this settlement, yet the bank will stand on its grounds that these were allegations. The bank contends that it was the largest bank lender for home mortgages to Black families in 2020, helped more Black families purchase homes compared to the next three large bank lenders combined over the last decade, and assisted more Black homeowners refinance their mortgages in 2020 than any other bank. Well, just because you have more customers, that just gives you an increased opportunity to, what do you got? Misdirect, misguide, omit, disguise these fees, loans, and contingencies that would cause barriers to their continued ownership. It stated an 83% increase in the companies refinanced loans to Black homeowners in 2020 compared with 2019. Also was by far the biggest gain among the largest banks. In 2021, Wells Fargo stated it increased the total by 106% compared to 2021. Another plaintiff, Christopher Williams, living in Atlanta, said he applied for a mortgage loan with Wells Fargo and was offered what he believed to be a high interest rate, considering his 750 plus FICO credit score. All right, so a high credit score does not guarantee you, family, of a reasonable or low interest rate. The lawsuit states Wells Fargo offered Williams an interest rate nearly 3 points higher than the prime interest rate offered by the banking giant, which is disproportionately and discriminatorily offered to white applicants, according to the lawsuit. So, our counterparts in banking get interest rates which are 3 points lower off the jump, a head start, a leg up, an incentive, a gift, a subsidy. Williams, during the press conference, said he was told a discrepancy on his credit report prompted the interest rate offered. However, he said he received scant details. They told me there were, quote, other factors that went into their scoring process, Williams said using air quotes. Wow. So family, that was an article by USA Today. And that was as of the 26th of April. And it's just a continuing manifestation and illustration that there is racism, discrimination, disproportionate disparities that are systematically ingrained into the foundation of American practice. How can it be denied? It is true and try and continues to exist. So family, what is our solution? There are Black banking institutions. We must en masse divest from these so-called white institutions that have been practicing these discriminatory techniques for decade upon decade upon decade, siphoning out through fees and services our actual ownership. So these are not helping institutions of economics for our family. We must separate, come together, keep all of our money in the family, and begin or expand our own institutions. Those are the only solutions as long as we patronize and give profit to these institutions of insult to the diaspora. We will continue to be the borrower and not the lender. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. To be continued. Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.